Well, look at that. 7:30 on the dot. Who'da thunk? Who'da thunk? Good evening, everybody. Hope everybody's well. If you happen to be checking this out later, brief introduction. My name is Paul, and I am, among other things, a professional DM, as well as a certified therapeutic game master. And I love doing videos about DM tips and doing recaps of games that I play with students that I'm currently working with at the Boys and Girls Club. And I like to break down stuff for games and things of that nature. So if you're interested in those kinds of things, well, then you might want to think about subscribing to the channel. And I hope that you do. So tonight I'm going to be sharing Bring on the Undead. Are you saying bring out your dead? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you bring out your undead? Oh man. Let's see. Yeah, so I'm going to break down today's session. And glad you're doing well, Mike. Wrapping up the workday. I got home probably a little while ago myself, so it's a little chilly here in Alabama, so I'm wearing the old hat tonight just to keep it warm. And today's session was very good. We got a lot done in the first session, and so I'm stoked about that. And we're going to meet probably 3 more times this month. My goal is to get this done with them. I've been playing with them since beginning of November, and I should have wrapped this up a while ago. I mean, no other group was I running 2 different games with. This was insanity on my part. I should not have been running 2 separate games with these guys. First time doing that, but that's what we were given and what I decided to do against my own probably better intuition. But there it is. Yeah, I do. I like undead is a low hanging fruit for for most role playing games because I mean listen it bites you, it scratches you. We have an idea as DMs, I think, culture-wise, if you've watched any number of zombie movies, what that means and what the world means. So if you've watched zombie movies or TV shows, those kind of things, you can kind of build around that. So I think it's quite the quick grab and say, hey, I need something for tonight. Great, you're fighting zombies, and so we'll get into that because there was some zombie fighting, and so we're going to build upon that. A couple of things to know. If you have not purchased my set of zines based on my world of Crusades, I have some zines here. I have been slow on the upkeep. I'm working on an adventure right now, but the good thing is that the world is pretty much built, at least a section of it, and it's broken down into 9 zines. And if you have not purchased them yet, well, now you have a chance to because, listen, I got a 50% off sale going. And the zines are only $2 as it is. So, I mean, you could buy the bundle at $19.95 or whatever it is. So you can get it now for $9.99 over there on drive-thru. And I will drop a link into the chat here so you can get a hold of it for yourself. You get 9 zines, you get maps, you get paper minis. There's a lot in there. Because I believe in just when you have a resource like this, go ahead and just stuff it full of good stuff, man, that people can use. So if you don't have these zines yet, and you're interested in putting your players through a hex crawl of horror, of various things that are going on. Anything from a creeping blight that just keeps moving, that you have a kind of a firewall right there that you're trying to, that you're trying to maintain of this constantly creeping blight that you have coming towards the city. That's always active, always going on. There's all kinds of things. There's dragons. There's all kinds of things that are happening there in Crusades. So if you're interested in that, link is right there, and then links will be down below as well. Yes, thank you, Mike. It is a good deal. I do think it's a good deal. And yeah, definitely, they're always bad and can be fought with. That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely can. Just let them get after them. So yeah, so that's the deal right now. Christmas deal, 50% off. Go ahead and grab the good stuff. I got a note. If you're not familiar with these books here, these the Game Master's book of like puzzles, traps, and dungeons, but the series is called the Game Master's Book of. And so this particular one is traps, puzzles, and dungeons. But they just recently reached out. Now, just about all of those books were given to me by, let's see, the company is called Media. What is it called? The name of the company, I should know this. It's called, that actually puts them out. I know where it is. Hang tight. It's Media something. It's Media something. I know it's Media something. Let's see here. That's right. Media Lab Books. So Media Lab Books reached out to me. It's going to be sending me 2 new titles. One is on collaborative gameplay. And they're going to give me Game Master's Handbook of Collaborative Campaign Design, about homebrewing emergent, stories, things like that, character arcs, and worlds with your players, which, by the way, we'll actually be talking a little bit about tonight. And then also the Game Master's Deck of Wild Magic and Mischief, 40 battlefield altering, power warping cards, and a companion of book for 5th edition RPG adventures. So I will be, hopefully, once they send that to me, I will be sharing it with you guys. And so there's that. What else is coming up? I'm going to do a series on, I did a video not a while back, but last week, on Ed Greenwood putting out new resources for let's see, for the Dale Lands. And the Dale Lands, I have, let's see here if I can put this in here. Let's see if I can put this into this thing. Oh, there we go. So this is the original, the Dale Lands. This is by Richard Baker III. And I am thinking about doing a little mini series on this and just kind of exploring as we build up to 2026, where Ed Greenwood's going to be releasing 4 resources for the Dale Lands. So I thought, well, we'll go back to the original, go through it, break it down. And there's a ton of adventures that go on here. I mean, there's like 4 or 5 or 6, other modules that go along with this. So, we'll see where it goes. We're gonna break that down, I think. But you can see here, let's see, we can flick through it. Great maps, as usual. And yeah, it's got a bunch of good stuff in there, different lay of the land kind of stuff. So I think we'll take a look at it and do that with you guys, and you can make some commentary. I don't know if I'm going to do it live or I'm going to do a video. I think I might do a video. Kind of break it down in small bites where people can consume it, where I'm not doing like an hour video or something like that. Maybe 15-minute type of videos that would be beneficial. And I think that's it. That I think I've covered everything there. I did buy some new. These children, these middle school boys, they think they're at a casino when they roll these dice. I mean, they are shooting for 7s. I mean, they're rolling a D20, but these kids must think they're at a casino because that dice goes across the table. So I bought, and I didn't get them till today, but I used my own dice tray. Where I say, guys, you got to start using this. Okay, this is the deal. and I got some. I bought these so that kids can, use them at their, where they're sitting, so that their dice do not go all over the table. And I bought 4 of these, I think, for $15 over on the Amazons, and I'll put a link down below if you're interested in that. They're fairly well made. All the things snap. I'm always concerned about the snaps, but all of them snap. At least all of mine did, so I can attest to that. But they're all just very lightweight and easy to break down, and they're nice. I like them. So when I do that, I will give that to them next week. When I get with them next Thursday, that's our next update with them. And then tomorrow, I think this will be the last thing before I get into the actual stuff here. But tomorrow I'm running a 5th edition game with some students at a different club. So my goal as a teen a director and outreach coordinator, I do a lot of things, right? So I bring folks into the club that have experience in various things. We're going to be having a photographer come in and talk about what it means to be a photographer with the students, bring cameras, shoot some headshots, that kind of thing. I'm bringing in an entrepreneur on Monday, hopefully, talk about restaurant business and what does it mean to work in a restaurant, work in the restaurant business. So one of my roles is to coordinate that and to make sure that the other folks within these clubs have the resources they need. So whether that's teaching on healthy habits or teaching on careers or whatever the teachings that we have, these sessions we may have, but also providing things like STEM projects or art projects and things of that nature. So that is kind of the nature of my job. But in addition to that, I try to get around to these clubs and at least play at least one game for those that want to, with students who want to do that kind of thing, which I think works. It creates a bond, as we know, creates a bond within students. They've gone on to an adventure together. They have this shared experience together, and I think it's helpful for a lot of things. For the relationship part, but also for getting to know kids in your that you normally don't talk to at club. Sometimes they don't have interactions, but they'll have these interactions around the table. So I will be doing that tomorrow. One session, just do 1 hour to see if they like it. If they don't like it, they never have to play again. But I want to do it. And every club is very different in the nature of their students. The one I did where the kids wanted to sacrifice each other, those guys were pretty much in. They showed up every week. They came every week. The students that I'm doing with right now that, are wanting to kill the poor children that were turned into frogs. Okay, well, they're frogs, so they wound up killing these, cursed frogs, basically. So they're all in. They're like 190% in. And then the group I have tomorrow will be different as well. So we'll just kind of have to test and see. I think at any point, a kid could just play it and not enjoy it. I've yet to have that experience. It could happen tomorrow for all I know. And if that's the case, that's fine. I play a 1 hour encounter with them, 5 rooms, something like that. Make it super easy. And then they decide whether they want to proceed from there. And that's when I start my Questers program. And my Questers program is real simple. It's about 5 to 6 sessions. And then I give them, at the end of that, they'll get their dice. They'll get a certificate of their participation. I'm giving away the minis, that they play with. They can keep that. So they get to keep all the little goodies that they played with, and hopefully that is a lasting impression. I had a young man today, very much interested. He says, "Paul, where do you get these things?" They were looking through all my minis, some of them painted, some of them just regular minis. He said, "Paul, where do you get all these minis?" And so I showed him on Amazon and showed him where to get Castles and Crusades. I said, you just look up, D&D minis. You can look up Castle Crusades. You can, do all these things. So the interest level of these students, at least these middle school students, and I think that is such a key age, middle school, where that interest is really, I mean, it's like throwing, gasoline on fire with their imagination. And so he was super into it. He was like, Paul, I want to know where do we get this stuff? How do I get a hold of these things? And so he was a cool young man, and it was a good session today. We're going to get into it, but yeah, I set up a game. All right, very nice, Mike. That's the way to do it. Absolutely. My gaming buddies lived all over town, so that was the way for us to play after school and then take the activities bus home later. That's right, exactly. And so we're, doing my best to pass along the hobby best way I know how, and hopefully have good experience with these kids. But in the end, I always ask, what did we learn today? What's something that you learned? And we'll get into that. There were some things that were learned today. So let's get into the session today. And first of all, I want to thank all of you for joining, being a part. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. If you like videos like this, be sure to click that thumb because the algorithm, it's helpful for that. And I'm still trying to get to 2,000 subscribers. I think I'm at 1,933, 63. I don't know, something like that. I'm like 50, 40 something, 60 something subs away. So if you would to share some of these videos with people, please do. All right, so in today's session, let me go over here to the, I'll show you something very basic that I did. Well, thank you, Mike. Hey, I'm doing what I can. I have a whole nother phase that I want to have where I teach kids how to be DMs. And let them run sessions for themselves and give them that practical experience, but also give them the confidence that they can do this, and how to have good table manners when you're around the table when one of your peers is running a game. Not like us as kids, me, in my group, that we were animals. We were feral beasts and yelling at each other, and had people rage quit several times and just leave and just left the house. They were just gone. They left. They're out. And so, so I'm trying to, if I can do another round or another series, I will, and we'll see from there. But my time here is short. I only have 2.5 months probably left, January, February, middle of March, to run as many games. I'm only filling in there. And so, I'll find other ways to do this, I guess. Hopefully. Mike says my teachers and other adults want nothing to do with us goofballs who are playing D&D and other games. Well, shame on them. They are missing out. Yeah, teaching and they'll never be a PC again. Well, I'm not telling them that part because then they're the forever DM, right? But if I teach more, if I'm like, if a group of people that know each other is easy, right? Then they can all swap. And some will adapt and some will be better at it than others, right? I'll tell them, I say, look, don't learn how to be a DM unless you want to just be this guy right here. But that's not fair either because I play online. If you watch any of the live videos, I'm, in Shadow Dark games or one shots or things like that, my friends put on. So there are times and opportunities where I have to play. In fact, I've played with my friends more than I've DM'd for them. And I've DM'd a few times. So, that's how it goes. All right. So today, let me show you. Let me put this on here, and I'll show you what the plan was. So I am playing, and I don't have the sheet down here, but it's called Quick Quests. I think that's what it's called. Quick Quests and Side Treks. Side Quests? Something by Castles and Crusades. I'm trying to remember now. I wish I had maybe I do. Hold on. What did I do with it? I didn't take the whole thing with me. I know that. And I have it sitting here somewhere on this table. Because I know I didn't. Oh, maybe I did bring the whole thing up. Oh, well. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Yep. But anyway, I'll put, if I have a link here somewhere, let's see. Let me look. I'll get it for you for those because that's a good little series. Um, let's see. Let's see here. Side quests. Nope, not coming up. I thought I had it in here somewhere, but that's okay. It's Castles and Crusades. I want to say it's quick quests and side treks, or quick treks and side quests, something like that. And I want to do it. I'll put a link down in the show notes if you're interested in that. They're one-page adventures. They're not super detailed. You've got to do a little bit of work on your own. But I'm using the one called the Horde, and the basis of the Horde is that they are that there is a necromancer that grew up, a kid that was bullied when he was young, and they grew up to be a necromancer and decided they wanted revenge on their town, and winds up raising the dead, and one town is about to be overrun. One town's all the dead is being raised and heading to the other town. So we'll get into that. But that's the premise. So now I have brought the party together. They came in separately. One was already there, and then two others that weren't there before came in, and now I have them coming into the town, which is basically on lockdown. It's all basically boarded up. When the dead started to raise and all that stuff, they hurried as fast as they could, and they were, it's pretty gruesome. I didn't share a lot of detail, but it was gruesome. And all the things were boarded up, and there's blood on the sign. Welcome. It's a little town called Little Rock. And that's where the dead were raised from, and they're heading to Big Rock, which is where the necromancer is seeking his revenge. So, because of the nasty people that treated him harshly, which hopefully this will be a good lesson in some way about, how we treat people, things of that nature. People grow up to be, terrible adults if they're treated poorly as children. Not always, but sometimes. So let me go ahead and then, that is the premise. So let me go just show you what my notes were. I just drew this on the back of, a index card. And really, I don't know if there's a wizard tower there. There might be one, but I think it's over here because he is casting here and drawing the undead towards Big Rock, and so basically this little journey they're going to take from Little Rock is going to be there's going to be a family rescue where hopefully they'll get some holy water. Maybe this might be a cleric of some kind, and we'll have some holy water. There'll be a bridge with specters, some fog, and then there's going to be some mercenaries that have some silver weapons because these mercenaries are they're attacking people. They're taking advantage of the situation and just indiscriminately robbing people, almost like the bikers from Dawn of the Dead when they ride into the mall, just indiscriminately, just taking stuff from people and cutting through them and just they don't care. So they're stealing treasures from temples or from wherever it may be, from the houses, the stores, whatever. And so on this little journey, this party will accumulate some things. Now they've already gotten a couple of things to help them out. So the treasure is, I'm not trying to get overboard with them, but I'm giving them enough. I'm giving them something. They've already got some bracers, some +1 bracers. They took off a skeleton. They found a healing potion, or they were given a healing potion by one of the people they saved. They found a +1 dagger and a +1 longsword. So That's what they have. But this is just basically these are 3 encounters. Then they'll go into the wizard tower. We'll see how long this takes. We'll have to move things along. But each along the way, my plan is that they will encounter a different type of dead, right? Like over here, they're going to have, I think they're going to have like gas or not whites, ghouls, right? Some ghouls here. Bridge with the specters, and then the mercenaries. Maybe there'll be some kind of undead there, and then the wizard tower, which I'm not going to make super. Maybe 3 levels, and then eventually I think I'm going to have a undead dragon show up. So by then I'm going to level them up. They're going to have some tools. They're going to have some magic items. Hopefully they'll have an epic battle. Somebody even asked me that today, like, hey, is there any dragons? Like, yeah, I'm not telling you. And these kids will peek behind. They'll peek behind my little thing here, looking at stuff. I go, you better get out of there. I'm gonna have zombies eat you. Okay? I just look, go behind the screen, zombies. They're gonna eat you. Okay? Yeah, ghouls can be nasty. I'm not gonna put a lot of them. Maybe 2. Have the family up the tree when they are encountered. So that's the goal. Not make a lot of them. So in the first scene, let me go to the first scene here. Okay, so across the way. So when they come into town, this is what's left of the encounter here. If you watch one of the other videos, I'm not going to go through what's happening here other than these guys got in here, fought with 2 skeleton warriors, won, and you know what? This the young man who's playing the barbarian, he's smart. Sometimes you do things for people around the table because they just did something in a clever way. So he asked this dog that they had that attacked one of the skeletons, and basically, these guys come in and save the family. Well, this dog right here, he goes over, the barbarian says, goes over to pet the dog. And I said, well, the dog comes to you and licks your hand because, you saved, his family. And then he asked for the dog. He asked the couple, which was kind of a douchey thing to do. It's a little manipulatory, like, hey, I just saved your life. Can I have your dog? He didn't say it that way. But they were willing to gift him the dog. He renamed the dog Luca, so now he has a dog. I have no problem with that. He role-played it well. He didn't have to manipulate. He didn't have to roll a charisma check, anything like that. They, out of gratefulness, just said, well, we're going to give it to him. We're going to give it to him. So kudos for him. He's smart. And I'll say this, too. I handed out today, as part of one of the things that I hand out, is they get these journals here, these Quester journals. And there's a session, right? It tells a little bit about what they can put in here. Session 1, right? There's a thing for every session. Session 4, session 5. I think I had 7 weeks. I think my plan is usually 7 or 8 weeks. And they get to keep these at the end of this, so they can write down NPCs, right? This is the memory thing. This is the thing if they hold on to that you want them to remember, like the things you'd find in your starter box, an old character. My stuff got lost along the way, so I didn't have that. But I remember getting a friend of mine's. He gave his away to me. Well, I love picking through his old characters and stuff and just looking at them, and that's just a fun thing for me. These become, that thing that you'll find 5 years from now when they're graduating high school and they go, oh, I remember that. That was cool. That was fun stuff, right? So they get to keep this. And one of the kid who's playing the barbarian was writing just ferociously. He was writing everything down. He even wrote a note to me and showed it to me that's what he was going to do. He's going to ask for the dog. I'm like, okay. Smart gameplay. Smart playing around the table. He's not talking a whole lot. He's just writing and shows me, what he's going to do. I'm like, okay, I'm in. So while they're busy wrapping that up, these guys here, the knight and the thief, we have two thieves in this party, and they're over here. And they said, okay, we're going to go ahead and we're going to, they come to one of the other houses. It's not a house, but it's like a general store. And I said, you come to the door, and the door is bloodied. It's filled with holes. The door is hanging off the hinge. Smells like death. And it's dark inside. Even though it's light outside, it's dark inside because they had covered up all the windows and everything. And it's getting dark. It's end of the day, that kind of a thing. And of course, they said, well, we want to bust in there. Okay, here we go. So I think it's the thief that busts in, and I say, okay, well, the first thing that happens is you're standing there and you're looking in, you can see the darkness. There's like light just like right around you. The knight is outside lighting a torch, and I said, you feel a hand on your boot. And you look down, and it is a zombie. It looks like the shopkeepers who ran the business here. It looks like, I think I said villagers. I said it was villagers who looked like they were attacked. So they, of course, then we roll for initiative. And the thief says he has a morning star. Because and I didn't bring those down here either. I should be more prepared. I have these little cards that show you what the weapon's like, because if you tell somebody, you can tell them, well, what is a morning star? Like, unless middle school students see it in a movie, or they read history, or they, those kind of things, they don't know what that is. So I made up little cards. It shows how much damage they do, right? So it has long sword, short sword, dagger, morning star, mace. Those are not commonplace words, right? Most of the time in the English language, especially among middle school students. Unless you play D&D, then you're talking about maces and morning stars all the time. So he says, I take my morning star, and I'm going to hit both of them. Like, I say another one comes out. Looks like the husband of the wife that's on the ground. And anyway, he swings that morning star, rolls a 17, and just clocks him. Kills the first zombie. And then it lands in the head of the second zombie. The spikes just dig in there. And then at some point the zombie takes its turn and it bites him. Now, one thing that with my zombies at least, you can get infected. Okay? You're going to get infected and you have to roll your constitution, that kind of a thing, to make sure you're not, whatever. So he gets bitten, and I tell him, I said, you're not feeling so good, and I said, you're likely infected. And I didn't have him roll a con score for this. I just said, look, you're bitten. Now, it works out because there's a cleric in the other party right over here in this party. They eventually team up, and I have the cleric go ahead and heal him. Before things got worse. In other words, you can do heal light wounds right when you're infected, but you would need a greater healing as the thing progressed. That a healing, when you're first bitten, that's one thing, but as it advances, it's going to need a stronger and stronger cleric to be able to heal that. So anyway. So he is bitten. And then he says, okay. So he says, I said, what do you want to do about this morning star in this guy's head? He says, well, I want to take it and I want to go down and I want to slam him to the floor. It's pretty good. I said, all right, roll. He rolls a 1. So, for this, it's not tragic. I said, well, okay, what you did is you were able to, it releases out of the zombie's head as you're pulling down, and it smashes into the wooden floor, and now it is stuck in the wooden floor. You're going to have to take a turn to get it out of there. And so while this is happening, the knight is now attacking the the zombie, and they eventually dismiss it, right? It's eventually done. But it was a fun encounter, right? Because these guys don't know what these zombies do yet. They don't know they get infected, but now they're infected. I can just picture these kids going home and telling their parents, like, "What'd you do today?" "Well, I got infected by a zombie." What? Oh, insanity, right? So, so they wind up coming out of there, going finally team up with these guys. The barbarian looks and sees these, and he says, "Oh, have you been bitten?" I said, "You don't know if he's been bitten. You know he's bandaged." So he says, "I see you're bandaged. How did you injure yourself?" or something like that. And the kid's like, and he blurts it out, I got bitten by a zombie. So the cleric winds up healing him, and that is kind of where they're at. Like I said, and one of the effects that I have on that was a clue that I gave them. I said, when you kill the skeletons, the words you see on them, the word revenge is almost like it's burned into their bones. That as part of the spell, or as part of the necromancer's raising him up, that he is so angry with the people that treated him poorly in Big Rock, that all the undead have some sort of message, like "you will die," or "revenge," or I will crush you," or "I will," those kind of things, right? Or "never again," or something like that. And when I said that, the thief who said, he goes, "Oh, I bet this is a mad scientist taking his revenge or something on the town or something." So he's really close, and I gave him a hero point for that, because I said, "Well, that's a really good theory. It's a good theory." So I made sure I gave him a hero point for that. I gave the barbarian a hero point for getting the dog. I'm like, well, that was a pretty smooth move. So the next phase of this will be they'll exit here and they'll go on that little journey of 3 encounters, have some battles. And I asked him at the end, I said, "So what did you guys learn from this?" Well, the knight said, "Well, maybe don't go busting into dark rooms." I was like, "That's probably a pretty good idea." I said, "But what fun is that, right? You got to do these things." And then, that overall, I felt like this was a really tight session. These guys really, good role play, good battle. Oh, here's another thing: exploration. Now they're exploring here, obviously, but in the role play session, I think this is what I gave the hero point for. The couple that asked him, this couple here asked him and said, "Where are you from?" And this kid said, "We're from Rock Hill." So he just goes ahead and makes up a town right on the fly. I said, "Well, that was creative. You get a hero point for that." So I put that in the exploration pillar, right? He created another town. He said, "That's a safe zone. None of the undead are there." So I said, "Well, that's phenomenal. That's a great piece of advice." So he's advising them to go to his town where they're from, and where there's no undead there. And so, out of nothingness, I was not guiding him or directing him to do so. Just out of his own imagination, he said, "We're from Rock Hill." So now we have another town. Now we have Little Rock, Big Rock, and Rock Hill, right? Rock. And so I think that overall, this was a really tight session. I'm also not going to, I decided that I'm not going to run. I did this last time. I'm not going to do it again because it gets complicated. That when a kid leaves, people want to play his character, and I'm like, no, we're not going to do that. So we got to play for probably a solid hour 10 maybe. And then they helped me clean up, which is always a winner. Thanks for helping me clean up, guys. And so just for that purpose, I am ending it when the first kid is about to be dismissed. We will end the session there. If it's not too early. I mean, we could probably go a little bit longer after one person leaves, but I don't want to get into other people running other people's characters. That's no fun for other people. And then they miss story and things like that. So I'd rather just end it there and pick it up on the other side. So let me go ahead and jump out of here and let's see, jump back to here as we begin to wrap up our session tonight. But yeah, I want to thank you guys for stopping by. Oh, that's awesome. Players adding stuff to the game is excellent. Oh, I agree. Absolutely. Yeah. That's the whole deal, man. Reward them for that. Who cares if it doesn't matter, right? This is like a mini camp. Oh, that's what somebody asked me. One of the kids asked me, what do you call these? Like these things we're doing. I said, well, these are little mini adventures. I said, when you put all these mini adventures together, you call them a campaign. And so able to use the terminology of campaign so they know what that is, and be able to play in that in that fashion. They have some knowledge now about kind of the language of the game, which is exciting. And I bring the Castles and Crusades book. I show them what levels they are, all those kind of things. So I'm excited about adding levels to them for the next adventure, and we'll go from there. But overall, solid adventure, solid session. So we'll see what tomorrow brings. I have 2 signed up. Maybe I'll have more. We'll see. If not, that's okay. I'll run for 2, and we'll keep it to an hour, and then we'll go from there. See what happens. So I'm going to bring some snacks for them because they volunteered, and so I'm like, hey, you guys volunteer. I'm going to give you some extra snacks because you're playing a game with me, and so we want to incentivize that kind of that stuff. Don't forget that if you don't have the resources yet, I want to say again, Crit Happens Zine, 9 zines, $9.99. It's 50% off at $9.99. It's normally $19.95 for all 9 zines. And there's a lot of good issues here. The Village of Skyreach, a whole place to play around in. The Hexcrawl of Horrors, the Clans of Kel and Kale. These are the Dragons of Kriesh. You have the survivors of these, this massive outpouring of insanity that's happening. Land of the Gods. We talk about the deities of Kriesh. Cults of Kriesh. How to make your own. All these are very DM forward type of things. You have the Corrupt Dead, which are a different kind of undead. They're all very different. And then you have the issue number 1, which is where I started the Hexcrawl of Horror. This is the number 1 of Hexcrawl of Horror, which is basically how to set up a Hexcrawl. Very basic, very simple, with tables to kind of set up your thing if you want to do it that way. And then Guardians of Kriesh, which is about the deities as well, the main pantheon, I should say, the forces of creation of Kriesh, of how it was created. So that's what you're getting in the deal there. So if you have not gotten it and you say, look, I need a new place to go run my players through, well, then I would go ahead and consider getting those, and you get a deal on it for 50% off. So. But that is it for tonight, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being a part. I enjoyed just hanging out and sharing the details. My next, hopefully, maybe tomorrow night, I'll probably come back on and share the 5e experience. Because I've tried everything. Not everything. I've tried, Tiny Dungeons, Castles and Crusades. Now I'm going to run 5e with this group, and I'll keep running 5e for this particular group because I want to keep fresh as well. I don't mind running different things, but once I pick it, I want to stay consistent with it throughout that and then change it up as I go along. There are some other systems that I would like to play, but we'll see. I'll choose from there. But anyway, thanks for being a part tonight. Thanks for hanging out. Thank you, Mike, for being a part of the live stream and keeping things active here, keeping me on my toes. And I will catch you guys tomorrow night. All the links will be down below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all hopefully tomorrow night. Have a good night, everybody. Bye-bye.